So some have come again and again, others are new. I'd like to welcome the newcomers to our Symis Symposium. But as we come with families, we have seen some of the very young children almost 20 years ago grow up with us and learn with us and also contribute to these discussions. So Bruno is one of them, of course, and he will speak on behalf of this younger Symis generation to also welcome those of the families, members of the families that are with us this time, the newcomers of the families that are with us, and tell you a little bit about what the younger generation does. Obviously, gets involved intellectually with the discussions, but also finds, the Greek bars and discos or whatever nice places to visit. So he will give you some of the information on that. But before I hand it over to Bruno to finish off our initial sort of inaugural meeting, and after we can all then go off to a nice meal by the marina, I'd like to say a few words in Greek and a few words in English about our meeting today. So bear with me. Κύριε Δήμαρχε, αγαπητές φίλες και φίλοι, ερεσιμότατε από την Αντιοχία, να σας καλωσορίσω στο 17ο Διεθνές Συμπόσιο της Σύμης, το νησί του Ιπποκράτη, την όμορφη Κο, με τεράστια όμορφη φυσική αλλά και πολιτιστική ομορφιά και κληρονομιά, ένα μοντέλο που θα μπορούσε να προσφέρει και να προσελκύσει επενδύσεις. Επιστρέφουμε εδώ στην ΚΟ μετά από χρόνια, διότι είχαμε κάνει το 2003 εδώ το Συμπόσιο, μιλώντας για έναν κόσμο που αλλάζει, επανασυνδυάζοντας την παγκόσμια τάξη ήταν το θέμα. Και έχουν αλλάξει πολλά από τότε, άλλα θετικά, αλλά και πολλά δύσκολα. Προσφυγικό, οικονομική κρίση, πόλεμος στη Συρία, η ανάπτυξη του εθνικισμού και του λαϊκισμού. Πολλές πληγές. Θα συζητήσουμε τις επόμενες μέρες το θέμα της μετακίνησης πληθυσμών, τις συνέπειες του Brexit, πώς επηρεάζει τη Μέση Ανατολή, τα Βαλκάνια, τις προεδρικές εκλογές στην Αμερική, αλλά και όλα αυτά πώς θα επηρεάσουν την Ελλάδα και πώς και η Ελλάδα τα δικά της προβλήματα έχουν επηρεάσει με τον ΑΒ τρόπο και την Ευρώπη και την περιοχή. Θέλω να ευχαριστήσω ιδιαίτερα το Δήμο της ΚΟ για τη στήριξη στη διοργάνωση του φετινού Συμποσίου. Δήμαρχε, πολύ ευχαριστούμε. Let me thank the Mayor, of course, for his help and hospitality in organizing the Let me also thank Taufik Houri. Taufik, please stand up. Thank you very much. He's one of our sponsors. Thank you very much. CCC. Let me also thank Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Haki, for your help. There he is. Let me thank the Cambridge Foundation for Peace, Richard. And we have two other sponsors, Greek companies, Chipita, I'd like to thank them, and Apivita. Thank you very much. Well, a few words, I don't want to take your time. Last year, of course, was the scene both of hope, but also of tragedy. Hundreds died crossing these waters, but for those who made it across, it was a welcoming sight. Welcome to Europe was the motto. And as we welcome those who were part of this massive exodus from conflict zones, particularly Syria, towards our European family, we also faced another surge for another exodus, epitomized by Brexit. And this has sparked a true crisis around our identity. What does Europe stand for? Can we live together, work together, pool resources and risks, unite our voices? In fact, this crisis has highlighted that it's been in stark contrast to the last time we had our Symis Symposium on this island. We had our symposium here on this island in 2003. Many of you were here. Then we had just signed the enlargement of the European Union from 15 to 25 members, a very, very positive and optimistic move. We had just signed the prospects of the Western Balkans becoming in the future members of the European Union after the war in Kosovo. Turkey and Greece had embarked on a new relationship, and Turkey had its prospects of being a member in the European Union. The Cyprus problem we felt was on the verge of being solved. Well, maybe it is even now, but then was seen to be quite clear. And of course, Greece was on the verge of winning the Euro Cup and hosting the Olympic Games. We then had former President Clinton, but also my good friend Ismail Cem, who passed away, Javier Solana. They were at this Símis Symbosio. Well, a very different, of course, year, this year, but then there was another blemish, very, very difficult issue. We had been in the presidency of the European Union. I was then foreign minister. At that time, foreign minister basically presides over all the discussions in the European Union, and I happened to preside over one of the most divisive issues in Europe, and that was, of course, the Iraq war, where Europe became deeply divided. But it only reminds us that that is one of the reasons we have this crisis in the Middle East, and of course the adventurous invasion into Iraq has had its ramifications in the whole region, on Syria, of course, and not only Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, refugees, ISIS, regional instability, proxy wars. And of course we've been very much reminded of the Iraqi war with the recent Chilcot report that was published in the UK. But the reasons for Brexit, I think we need to discuss. We in Greece decided to remain. We were the candidate for Grexit. For very different reasons, or maybe for similar reasons, we decided to remain because we felt that Europe was, at its core, a project for stability, a project to guarantee democracy, a project to guarantee peace in the wider region, a humanizing force for our issues, whether they are the global issues, whether it's climate change or whatever else. However, we also felt that maybe Europe has not lived up to its real capacity. And we have, in these global issues, seen that populism has grown, maybe because of lack of sense of justice. I have talked a lot about tax havens, or bankers versus the average man or woman in the streets. Secondly, a sense of powerlessness that our citizens feel when we actually do have potential to make poverty and many other things history. Things too big to be accountable, whether it's finance or energy industries or pharmaceutical or food industries. The issue of climate change, although Michael Murray was very much reminded us that there was a positive and there is a positive roadmap if we follow it after the Paris Agreement. But there's also a lack of sense of legitimacy in the political systems in our democracies, which we need to deal with. Europe, we have all seen as a solution. But is it, or can it be? Because what is growing now in Europe is a threatening alternative, the exodus or the exits, whether it's Grexit or Brexit or whatever type of exits, back to our tribal havens. What is the alternative? Both a realistic, a global, or supranational, but inspiring and progressive. How can we deal with these growing populisms? Well, Kos is an island of healing. Hippocrates, of course, had his center here. And refugees crossing to a better world is one way people see to heal their problems. But it's been a difficult time for this island and for these islands. Some say that tourism is down 40-50%. So our thoughts are both with the refugee, but also the local community. But we also need to think out of the box. If Sími has been a place for new and innovative thoughts and networking, today this task of rethinking our world is more challenging than ever and more needed than before. but let's not be depressed and pessimistic. If Symi is one thing, it is also bringing a spirit of hope for a progressive and more humane world. And as Mary said initially, we try in the ancient Greek spirit to bring both the rational but also the spirit of fun and loving and life. So eating and drinking together, which the symposium, the word symposium means, swimming and dancing together is a necessary ingredient for a more optimistic and a better world. So I wish us a very productive, creative, and fun few days together. Thank you very much. And Bruno, you have